Five Nights at Freddy's finally released on Peacock and theaters, and I decided to watch it on Peacock. Mostly because I'll be honest with you guys, I've never played the games. I'm not a gamer. To be honest, if I ever review something based on a video game, except Mario or Sonic, just assume I've never played the games. And even then, like Mario and Sonic, I'm not still playing the games. They're things I played when I was younger, very loosely. So, yeah, and so yeah, this is a movie that a lot of kids are gonna watch. They're gonna be very noisy, and I don't really play the games. I've been hearing reports from people who went to go see the movie that there were lots of fans clapping and shit, and like I'm glad they're happy, but at the same time, it's like when I go see a Star Wars movie, I like being around that kind of crowd that's clapping and cheering because I get Star Wars. I'm a fan, right? But since I'm not a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I think I would just find it distracting and more annoying, right? So I don't really want to see with that crowd. So I just watched it at home. And I'll be honest with you guys, I really didn't like this movie. Let's start with the positives, and then I'll just explain why I didn't like this movie. The positives are that I think if you're a fan of the games, you'll enjoy this movie. There's a caveat to that will go when that I'll talk about more when I go into my negatives. Matthew Lillard is really fun in the movie, but not in the movie enough. So yeah, every kind of I would say everything I'm praising about this movie so far is sounding negative, but we'll get into it. Last thing this one actually doesn't have any caveats to it. This is just great. The costumes and like creature effects for the animatronics were great. Jim Henson's Creature Shop actually did them, and they're really good. That's the main reason I wanted to watch this movie is to see how they did that, and so I thought it was really well done. I really enjoyed that, so that was cool. And then yeah, other than that, I didn't like this movie. I I feel like we're at a point with horror where a lot of these kids nowadays are really trying to get into horror. And these studios are listening to that and they're going, all right, well, let's make baby horror movies. And as a baby horror movie, it's fine because it's made for babies. But as someone who's not a baby and enjoys real horror movies, I was just left like there was really nothing to this movie. Um, they were talking about how they use, like, I've seen interviews with the directors talking about how they use shadows or different things to make cool kills or whatever. I'm sorry, what? Um, no, you didn't. Like, there wasn't that many, there was, like, no real memorable kills or moments. In fact, I was very shocked by how much of the animatronics were goofy throughout this movie, and they don't really become threatening till the, like, very end of the movie. And so, like, I was just sitting there, like, a little bored by it. I was just like, okay. Like, there was really no story. There was this weird story about the main character dealing with trauma from losing his brother. I'm like, who cares about this in a Five Nights at Freddy's movie? How is it the Banana Splits movie is better at giving me a more entertaining, gruesome Five Nights at Freddy's movie than the actual Five Nights at Freddy's movie, right? Because these things weren't scary, but in the Banana Splits movie, they actually were scary. Well, I wouldn't say they're scary, but that movie's at least entertaining enough with having enough gore, and they're more violent. They're not as goofy they are here. It was really bizarre. Like, it almost felt like in this movie they were trying to sell you shit. Like, they were trying to sell you Five Nights at Freddy's shit. Like, here, go buy these fucking animatronics as toys, right? So, almost felt like they're like, yeah, we can't make them too threatening. They can be scary, but they can't be too scary. So you could just feel the studio mandate with that shit. I thought that was really irritating. I mean, they have like the one like so the other subplot in this movie about the guy and his brother and shit. He's also watching over his sister, and he brings him into this dangerous place that you're like, why would you do this? You know it's not a great idea to do this, but he's doing it, right? Makes absolutely no fucking sense, right? And so it almost felt like they wanted that there so you could have this girl hang around with the animatronics. So that way they go, oh, they're not that scary, make them seem less scary. But no, like, this is a horror movie. It just felt really lame to me. Like, this whole movie felt really lame. Like, I felt like the horror didn't try enough. Even Matthew Lillard, he was great at being a villain, but he didn't go far enough. You know, he didn't become the Matthew Lillard that you want to see in this type of movie. It was just so boring. Boring. And this movie also was way too long. I know there's a lot of lore to FNAF and shit, but there's no reason that a movie like this needed to be an hour 50 minutes. Or like an hour 49. Somewhere in there. I forget how long it was. This movie could at most should have been an hour and a half or an hour 20. That's it. It should have been a pretty simple, straightforward movie, but instead they kind of bog it down with weird things, and I just didn't care about it. This movie was meh. It wasn't a horrible movie. I would say if you enjoyed movies like Megan, you'll probably enjoy this. And I say Megan because that also to me I criticize as being Baby's first horror movie, where like the movie is cut down to be PG-13, and it was just real lazy and just cheap. With its kind of horror to it, and just didn't feel like it had much of a bite, and that's kind of what this movie was to me. I was like, okay, so yeah, I didn't really like this movie, but I think fans will be happy with it, and I guess that's all that really matters. I'll probably watch it again with my girlfriend who's been wanting to watch this, and we'll talk about it some more. I'll talk about some more with her, but like, I just didn't really care for it. Might take my cousin too. I don't know. He likes the books and stuff, so got a few of them as birthday and Christmas gifts. So I don't really know. Fuck. Five Nights at Freddy's is all whatever. I don't know. I was hoping that this movie may actually make me interested in this franchise, but I'm not interested. It's just kind of there. I'm happy that fans are happy with this, but I also feel like sometimes I wonder if like fans just eat shit up just because they're like, this movie. I will say this movie did take a long time to get off the ground, so I do feel like there's this like part of fans who are like, I waited so long to see this happen that now that it's happened, I'm excited, right? And so they're kind of gonna sit there and pretend it's great, whether it's not. Where like they're just so happy about it. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, like, share, and subscribe. It's a movie.